Yes, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome this lovely afternoon. We had a lot of rain today, in and out, prevented us from doing some of our walking, but we still got through to do a good piece of bamboo settlement number 3 today. Uh, Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. I am Marcus Ramkisoon. I'm the leader of the Trinidad Humanity Campaign political party, the THC. And this is welcome to our live virtual public meetings. This is public meeting number 9 that we're having right here on our live YouTube channel, so that you guys can interact with us directly. You don't have to come out your homes and sit down and attempt to talk to us. You can talk to us directly here in the YouTube. You can call us anytime. My number is 462-8870, but I ask you to refrain from using that number during the broadcast today, since I'm using my mobile device to film the Facebook Live. If you would, you're welcome to call us at 737-8321, 737-8321. It's in the YouTube chat, and all are welcome to interact with us during the broadcast. So we had a lovely evening this evening. Today we spent most of the day doing our walkabouts in bamboo settlement number 3. As I mentioned just now, the the intermittent rain did stop us here and there, but we were able to get through a good percentage or part of the bamboo settlement number 3 today. We'll continue to rest during the week, hopefully. And you know what? I went in there thinking that it's an area known for a particular party, if you will. I went in there thinking, we mightn't see a lot of support. I told the other 2 people who went with us, because we're not going in there with no fanfare, right? It have no music truck, it have no dancing, it have no group of people singing and entertaining, because again, governance is not about entertainment and entertaining, right? It's about serious business. It is about managing the resources of you and your country, your resources. Yeah. So we went in there, 1 vehicle, 2 flags on the vehicle, just to show that we're a political campaign vehicle and not just some vehicle pulling up in front of your house. All right. So we only printed 2 flags. Right. We have our little T-shirts and stuff here. As you see, a number of people did ask for T-shirts, and I had to explain to them, well, we only have 2 each for us, right? We're not here to give you a jersey, because by the time I pay $100 for a jersey to give to you, and you don't see me for the next 3 years, that jersey will cost you $10,000 and change when you get flooded out and so on. You're not getting anything in return, or you're not having any help to prevent that flooding in the first place. So rather than you take a jersey and give a vote on serious solutions towards serious issues. Yeah. But I was actually overwhelmed by the amount of support that we saw today from the residents of bamboo settlement number 3. Everybody that we spoke to, of course, not everybody is in their house or outside their house to come to talk to us, but I think we spoke to maybe 1 in every 3, 1 in every 4 houses that we went to. We spoke to someone in person, and everybody had the same thing to say. Now, I'm a little bit disappointed. Of course, I'm not a little bit. I'm very disappointed and very sad that the past councillors for bamboo settlement number 3, and I assume this is the same in every electoral district, right, hasn't really done the job to the best of their ability. And unfortunately, everybody has the same complaints in that area, right? The type of flooding that they get, the consistency, the frequency of the flooding, and nothing seems to be being done. All right, amidst a slew of other problems that I was able to hear. But what I was overwhelmed about is the amount of support we got from the residents of bamboo settlement number 3. Everybody we spoke to came to us and said, we want something different. Their concern was, if they put us into this position of management, because a few of them used the word power, and I had to explain to them, this is not a position of power. This is a position of management of the people's resources, of the country's resources, right? And their concern is if we vote for you and we put you there, are you going to do the same thing as everybody else? Because every time, and we don't even want to vote, because everybody that comes to us is saying the same thing. But I had to remind them that everybody they're talking about that represented them in the past is only the 2 large parties. They may have had 10 different candidates, but it's the same two parties. So at the very worst, if you put us into that position of management, at the very, very worst, if we did nothing and we, sit back and did nothing, you wouldn't be getting nothing much different from what you're getting now. What I have to explain is we have been contesting general elections for the past decade. We've contested the 2010, the 2015, and the 2020 general election. We aim for leadership of the country because we believe if we engage in proper management of the country's resources and we have that responsibility, we could bring better value for money, we could bring more transparency to the people, and we could change this country and shake up the whole politics system. That's why we've been contesting general elections. But my point to the people is this: in a year and a half, 2 years, when the next general election come, I want your vote also for leadership in that position. So I have no choice. Our candidates have no choice but to work extra hard to show you in this little period that we could do what we said we're going to do, right? What we commit to doing, right? And we could change up the whole system, shake up the politics. Right, I explained to people that if you put somebody in there outside of the two large parties, right, is a local government election. First of all, you're not undermining any party, you're not swinging the vote or anything like that because the government is staying the government. It's a local government election, and in Tunapuna Regional Piaco Corporation alone, there are 16 councillors. If you put one councillor there from outside of the two large parties, what is going to happen? It's not going to change anybody. Nothing nobody going to be undermined. There's no problem, right? What you will get, though, is representation on a different level because you now have somebody who doesn't have to vote caucus with the two large parties, who doesn't have to listen to the leadership of the two large parties, who can now come out and speak against the two large parties. So when somebody bid $2 million for a contract, but they give somebody else who bid $10 million for the same contract, we could come out to the public and to the media and show, look what is happening in the corporation. We vote for the man for $2 million. Look, these councillors vote for the man for $10 million. Let us now as a group, as a community, and as the councillor ask the question to the media, to the public, to the government, what happened to the next $8 million? Where's the real value for money? Why give away $8 million more? What is the difference in that contract? You ever see a councillor come out in the media and the TV and speak to people and say, listen, this is what's going wrong in this party and in this corporation, and this is what's happening here and this is what's happening there? This is what we're going to do. If you give us the opportunity and you elect us to that position of management, we will shake up the politics in the whole country, not just the politics in the corporation, because you will give us the opportunity to lead by example, to show what true transparency can be, to show what true accountability can be by us showing you through video, through the same YouTube and Facebook, every aspect of our jobs, right? From morning till night, every dollar that passes in front of us, every receipt, every invoice, every project cost, every decision, you will be privy to, right? Because this is representation. If we're representing you, shouldn't you have the ability to know everything we know and see what we see? Shouldn't we be accountable to you on that level? And when we do that, when we take our website and we say, okay, this project is 10 million, we scan every receipt for every hammer and nail for that project and put it on that tab in that website. Right? So that you could see that we didn't pay $2,000 for a hammer while you paying $20 in the hardware. That is when we could go to central government and say, why can't you all do the same thing for all the projects you all engage in? And then we will force the hand of both local and central governance to do the right thing, to become more accountable, more transparent to the people. And we will then have a better governance system for it, no matter who is in charge. We will have a better system for it because we are now putting people in that management position who can speak up against those people. Finally, you have an opportunity to do something. Now, yeah, we contest general elections for the last 3 elections, right? But the electorate has seen it fit, not the electors yet, because they every response I always get for general election is, oh gosh, we could swing the vote. Our party won't win if we vote for you. Well, they're not swinging no vote this election. This is why we're here for this local government election. You're not swinging no vote. You're not undermining no party. You have an opportunity to put somebody to pull up the socks of everybody else. That is what we will be there for. That is what we can do if given that opportunity. Far less for maintenance of your roads and your drains. We know the problems. We see that we live here too. Obviously, we're going to tackle those things from day one time, right? But we're going to do so much more, right? That we are going to make the country proud of us. We need your vote for general election in 2025. We have no choice but to work our tails off for you in this next year and a half to 2 years to show you that we are worth your vote in the general election to lead this man and to manage this country, to lead our people and manage this country for you. We are the best choice in this election because of that. We have the ability to sit down on our tails and our behinds and do nothing this time. We have to show you that you will get what we have committed to. Some people ask today too. They say, listen, Mr. Marcus, I will vote for you, you know. I just want you to ensure that I get a walk. See, but that in itself is a level of corruption. That in itself, you telling me that if I give you a walk, you will give me your vote. That's not what we're here for. If I'm in the position and you need a job and we have a space available and you qualified for the position, well, damn well, if you could apply for it and we'll help you through the application, we're not going to favor you over nobody else within the community, right? It is going to be a fair, free and fair system. But here the next thing about it, some youth men and all stop me today and tell me the same thing. That was the second person. The second one was two youth men, right? Well, they know today's Sunday, so they're drinking and they're having a good time, right? But they approached and they said, well, you know, we need something. We need to see some money. I say, well, right? What it is you're asking? They say, well, at least a little walk. I say, no, well, again, I cannot here to stand up to promise you a job because I don't know if you qualified for a job. I don't know what you can do, right? When that time comes and if elected, you will have a free and fair chance of entering that position if you are qualified for it. But here's what we at the THC will do. Everybody talking about money and if they could get something, well, look at our plans now, right? We're talking about opening up farmland. Well, the young man, I didn't know it. I really thought the young man, I judged wrongly. And I really thought the young man would have more wanted the first plan that I laid out for him, which was, listen, we're doing job creation. So if you have a project for a business, right, a plan for a business that you want to open, what we will do is when you come to us, we will help you build your business plan because you know that it costs a lot of money to do a proper business plan and help you get all the documents you need to apply for a government grant or government loan. If you do that and you get refused, you don't get through, and we still see merit in your project, we're not going to let you set up a parlor next to a parlor, if you understand the analogy. Right? It had to be something the community need. It had to be something that will be good infrastructure for the community, something that will bring more business to and more people. You know, a lot of these things, all these things to be considered. But once it's that and it has that merit, or we will have a program through the corporation to finance those projects at a zero interest loan operation. So when you start to make money, you pay us back. We don't want no interest on it. We don't want no extra money. We just want back the money we spend on you, and we're helping you become successful. Well, needless to say, the young man was happy at that. But then he asked me, which I don't usually hear from young people, so it take me by surprise. You know, usually the older heads would say this thing, but he asked me, this young man, and when I say young man, he must be in his early 20s, right? He said, what about farming? I said, well, what about farming? Because we have plans to take all the public lands within the corporation that we would normally just clean and maintain. Well, normally they would clean and maintain, and utilize it and convert it into agricultural spaces, both for residents and for commercial use. I said, but why? He said, because, I mean, he said, I have an idea, my brother, a long time. I want to do a coconut plantation. I say, well, look, listen, if you want to do something and put in the work for it, he said, but I will willing to work whole day for that. I used to do that on other people's place and I know it have a value and a money to it, so I want to do that project, but where I going to get the land to do it? I say, but that is where we come in. We will support you. He said, what, you going to lease me the land or something? I said, no, my brother. We will give you the land. It's not going to be your land, you know. Of course, it could be a type, but you won't be paying for it if you're doing that type of project. If we have a piece of land that is allocated for that level of long-term use, that we know nobody going to buy or use or anything like that, we can allocate it for that project. Of course we can. You contribute into food security. Of course we're going to help you. Another gentleman, the first gentleman we spoke to, right? I don't want to say anybody's name, but he leads a fishing association, and he gave me the sad story of how the association had to become dismantled because, you know, nobody was supporting them. There was no support from any level of governance. And when election time come, a number of officials just call him and bring him to the Hyatt and all the other hotels, I think, because he's responsible for all this people, right? And it's just a mama guy, and he said he know that. I said, so then look, you have a chance, and we spoke for about half an hour. Yeah, that take up a lot of the time on the walk, but realistically, I like to hear what is the issues and be able to talk to the people and show them the difference. And by the end of it all, you know, I mean, my guy started off bad. My guy started like first he told me he couldn't read when I handed him the flyer, just so he wouldn't tell me I wouldn't throw this away. He said, I can't read, you know. right? In the end, he tell me, I could read, just that I tell you that because, but now I hear what you have to say, and so we'll support you. So overall, my friends, I was shocked and elated at the surprise, at the support that we got for our party from the residents of Bamboo Settlement Number 3. And I want to thank everybody in Bamboo Settlement Number 3 this evening, now, in advance of the election, because you've given me the zeal to know that even if we lose this election, which we are accustomed, we do this all the time. We contest the election to get the right thing out in the platforms and the public, right? But even if we do, I will make a greater effort than I've made in between other elections, and I will try to put some of our plans, like the camera system for the electoral district. I will work with the private businesses and talk to the commissioner of police and see if we can institute that plan for the 100 camera system at least, right? Even if not elected, because we continue to try. For us, it is better to try and fail than fail to try, right? We live by that. At least I live by that. Yeah, I don't want to get old and have to say, what if I did this? What would have happened? No. I want to know now. I want to do it. So later when I get old, I say, what if? I already know what happened. I did it. Yeah, that's what my personality is like. So give us a chance. Give us a chance, people, to shake up the whole governance in the country. Give us a chance to show what transparency and accountability could really look like in our country if our government wanted to do it. And give us a chance to force the hand, right, to do this by showing them that we are doing it. And if we're capable of doing it, the question is, why aren't you? Yeah. So that's the I think a good start to our meeting this evening. I want to remind you all, you can call us or message us on 737-8321. That's 737-8321. And let us know your thoughts, your comments, your question us. I had another lady today question me about, unfortunately, on her property line, the neighbor's roof is hung over the property line. What would I do about that if she voted for me? And I was honest with her. I told her, I said, I'm not like the regular candidates who go and tell you, I can fix it. Right? I will do it. No, you had to go through, you had to know and understand the problems of these types of issues. Town and country is responsible for that. So if we direct her as to who to go to in town and country to talk to them, and she doesn't get the result from town and country, then we will represent her as we're supposed to and go with her to the right authorities, town and country, and whoever else, and take it to the highest that we can and get the problem addressed, because that is not fair, right? Now, you got to come to something, because I want to tell a man break down the whole roof, right? Because you're a foot over this neighbor property. You should have known that from the very beginning, though, right? But these things had to be, and this is what we have civil courts and these things for, to address circumstances like these. But as a councillor, if elected, if she's not getting through the official means, and I understand how this country works, you could try all kind of official ways, something they don't even answer the phone in the public service. Far less for you getting through with something easily. I mean, look at what happened in legal affairs recently. You can't even go down there and register a business. And when they set up the system, it takes them 6 months before you can register the business. What? So everybody must just sit down and wait, right? Because legal affairs want to digitize, right? But they don't know nothing about digitizing. You know how long I tried to register a business? I tried to register a business 6 months now. I went and get the cross password and the system and put the money in the system. And even I put money in the system, it was down until the 17th of July the other day. What madness. Well, oh gosh, if you know it down, and it down for so long, let the walk-ins continue. Don't stop the whole process and just stop registration of businesses. You have ulterior motive there somewhere. What's really going on at legal affairs? I have a lot more things I could say for legal affairs. I ain't talking, and a lot more I could say about the public entities in this country, right? Some things that they're doing very wrong that is way outside of their remit, right? And taking monies from certain businesses to allow certain products to be on shelves and passing. I have a lot to say, and I try on my own to get it said. But when I go to the authorities as a citizen, they don't pay much mind to me. So you put me in the position of councillor, and I will make my voice. You make my voice louder. And I will shout it out and get it done, right? And make sure that the voice is heard and make sure that the problems are fixed, not just corporation and community-wise. I'll address issues country-wise once I get the official capacity to talk, right? I took it. That is what governance is about. A number of people also today, we have to point out to them, well, look, you have no music truck, no entertainment, A lot of people appreciated that too. That we're coming on something serious. We have the whole manifesto printed out. Yes, a lot of people is come with words and telling 100 days and da. We real, right? We are probably the realest party that have out there, right? No ulterior motive. We haven't taken one campaign finance from anybody, and it have no party in the country could say otherwise, that they did something like that. Other people is take donations. Actually, nobody will say that. There are a few small parties that haven't accepted donations yet, right? But any of the others who are right around us, we're the fourth largest party in the country as of the 2020 general election, out of 19 contesting parties in the general election 2020, right? Third, fifth, sixth, all these people is take campaign finance. We don't, right? We do things differently because, as we explained in previous videos, that is how the corruption is started. When you're taking money and you have to give back money and all this kind of thing, because these people are giving you $20 million for nothing because they believe you will do a better job at running the country. They believe for $20 million, they believe they're going to make back twice that, 3 times that, 4 times that, right? And that is wrong. This whole issue of campaign finance need to be addressed, but we can only do that at the central governance level. So I wouldn't go into that this evening with you, right? But it really does need to be addressed. A party shouldn't be allowed to spend more than $5 to $10 million on an election, right? As I keep showing people, they spend over $10 million in jerseys alone. Why you think they're doing that? That mama guy. The minute you hear a music truck come by you and announce that a political candidate is coming to your house, you as a Trinbagonian, a smart thinking Trinbagonian, should know that's the first mama guy. That's the first step in the mama guy. When you come outside, the rest of the mama guy come in here, hold a jersey, hey, you want a little hat, right? You ain't doing nothing with it most of all washing car with it and putting it for dog and cat to lie down on, right? But you're taking it, right? And I am saying, well, actually I'm saying that because I find it strange. Going into a theory now, I wouldn't get deep into it. You all have to think for yourself what I'm saying. I find it strange that people is complaining for 3 years and 5 years about who represented them. And if they get a chance again, they never vote these people again. And then just before the election, a truck is passed around and hand you a jersey and you say thank you very much and you just collect it. And all of a sudden you're voting them again. I'm own theories on that, but if I were you, I wouldn't take no jersey. I'd leave them with the jersey and the cap. That's just my stupid advice. Yeah. Look, we have real representation. Look, you have a chance now at somebody who's from the ground, one, right? Ask around, I'm Marcus Ramke soon, and somebody who's educated enough to do the job. I personally, all of our members are educated in different areas, right? I hold a bachelor's and a master's degree, and I'm currently pursuing, and I'm almost finished with an MBA, a master's in project management, and I'm currently a PhD student of criminology in UTT. Right? After the UTT degree, I'm going to do one on governance and public policy. And after that PhD, I'm going to do another one in food science. Because if I want to be the leader of this country, I should be educated into the aspects that is necessary to run a country. And those are the aspects. Those are the main ones. I can't do everything, but I try. Yeah. So hopefully by 2025, at the very latest, you'll see Dr. Ramke soon as opposed to Mr. Ramke soon. Right? Because I have a feeling that a lot of the people in this country like that title of doctor and think is a lot more than it is. And yes, it represents somebody of a higher level of intelligence, sure, right, in terms of what they've been able to do and prove through the opportunities they would have had, right? But, so I'm doing it for all of us, right? I seeking to be able to do the job because you don't want to put somebody there who can't read a technical paper, to which is most of the job, right? And can't write a technical paper to respond, which is also another big aspect of the job, and have to depend on permanent secretaries and all these other technocrats and so who in there a long time and who engaging in a lot of the mismanagement themselves, right? You have to be able to know what's going on as far as I'm concerned if you want to do this job properly. Coming back to the job is management. You hear a lot of these parties talk about put us in power. Put us into power. Well, then I tell you, I despise that statement. You all can't tell that if the people say vote us into power, they're hungry, is power hungry people. That's all it is. You all don't know that term, power hungry? So if they're using this terminology with you, you all can't tell. We don't use those words. The position is management. Management of the country's resources, management of the resources of the corporation and the electoral districts within, right? Management of the monies of the people, the tax-paying people, right? That is what this is. So we ask you to elect us into the position of management, because that is what it is. I had to tell a few people today again, right? I guess the walk today has given me a lot of material for this meeting, right? But another few people said, you keep putting them back. Every candidate that comes to us is only promises, and when we put them into the position, they don't do nothing. But I say, but who's these every candidates? As I said earlier, you could have 10 different candidates, but so far it's only been from the two large parties. So who it is you're really putting on? Because what it is you're really doing is, if you're a businessman, right? There's an analogy here for you. But if you're a businessman and you are a manager to manage your business, let's say you have 10 locations, so you can't run all. Because the man tell me, he said, I can run it myself. That was his answer in the end. I say, oh, if you have 10 business to run, you can't run all yourself. You don't have enough children to run all, whatever it is like that. You have to hire a manager then, right? So this is the term of the business. And that manager do poorly. What you do? You fire them and you hire a new manager, correct? Correct. And if that manager do poorly, what you do? You fire that manager and you hire back the first manager who did poorly? You say no. I say, but that is what you're telling me we're doing. That is all we've been doing. We've been hiring back the first and second manager. Like, if we as people don't realize that there's more people within our country who's dedicated, who willing, who putting themselves in the public arena, right, to seek your vote, to seek to represent you, because we know we live here too. I keep saying that by representing you, I representing me and my family. If you afraid to walk out your house at certain times over certain places in this country because you think the crime is too high, I think so too. I had to lock up my gates the same way you lock up yours, because people could run in my house. This is how we living in this country now, and this is what we come to accept, and we need to start thinking seriously. We need to start putting people into the positions of management who will actually represent us on all these issues. You can't tell me we hiring first manager and second manager over and over and over again. That don't make no sense. That is nonsensical. If you were the business owner, obviously you would seek to hire a third and more qualified person, or as qualified person, and give them an opportunity to do the job. And if that person fail, you hire somebody new again. You don't go back to the people who fail. You're not living in a smooth house with only 10 people in it. 1.5, 1.6 million Trinbagonians and a number of immigrants. So come on, people. I beg you, think seriously, because this election, no, it's not no mother of all elections. It's another election. It's just another election. It's just another opportunity for you to release the previous manager and appoint somebody new, or put back the same manager you had, or put back a manager from a party who already represented you at some point in your life and still didn't do good. Whether it is new faces and new names, is the same parties. So you have a chance. You have an opportunity now. You have somebody different. This is not those three letters that you are accustomed to seeing. This is THC, Trinidad Humanity Campaign. Why? Let's get to that. And before I get to that, right, I ask you again, if you are interested and you would like to, anytime during the broadcast, you can contact us today at 737-8321, 737-8321, WhatsApp or direct call. And after this broadcast, anytime, you can contact me directly on my number, 462-8870. That's 462-8870. The flyers that you all are receiving is on the Facebook media. Our Facebook page, Trinidad Humanity Campaign, is the major pinned post, right? We have 3 half pages for you to read of points that we plans and policies that we have that we want to engage in if elected. As far as we're concerned, these are points you would have never heard. You would not have heard, from anyone else before. These are plans with such innovation, right, that we think you'll be surprised, and pleasantly so. So do check out the Facebook and Instagram pages when you get a chance, Trinidad Humanity Campaign, and see what we're about. Talk to us. Yep. Another set of queries that I get is why THC, and that is the main ingredient in this cannabis. Yes, it is one of the 146 cannabinoids in cannabis, right? But I could come up with a million different names for the acronyms of any of the large parties or any other party. In this case, THC stands for Trinidad Humanity Campaign. Why? Now let's look. Let's look right behind me here, right? Why not? Why Trinidad and not Trinidad and Tobago? First of all, because I've spoken to Tobagonians for the last 25 years, easy, right? And I had good sense as a teenager, right? I have a little political sense for the longest while. And I've always heard from a lot of Tobagonians that they wish Tobago to be independent and separate. And as much as we have a beautiful Twin Island Republic, I at the very least want to make Tobago more independent by arranging for them to have their own water systems through desalination, right? Set up a desalination plant for Tobago. They don't have to depend on water supply from our country or our main issues. Yes, of course, they have their own things there, but a desalination plant is important in case freshwater supplies run out at any time in droughts and all these things. We'll always have the seawater. You gotta start thinking ahead from now and know what's coming in the future, right? Set up their own electricity plants, because you could do the same thing. You could make wave, you could use the wave generators, you could use wind power. There's a ton of different renewable aspects, solar, salt, all these different things that you could use, right, to power the island self-sustainably without having to use diesel. Because I hope you all know, right, the downside of an electric car in this country, right, you are not being self-sufficient. All our electricity is made from diesel, all, in case you didn't know. So whilst you're filling your car with electricity, it's already diesel you're using, right? Just to let you know. And until we use sustainable systems, which we of course would implement in, if we given the opportunity to get to the central government, right, and even try to get it done from the corporation level at some level, right? That's the only direction to go to achieve true self-sustainability and true recyclable fuels and all these things, and renewable resources. If you don't do the right thing, you won't think so. So that's why humanity H, because this is what we're about. We're not just about one set of people, or wanting the people who support us or the people who this and that. And we're not just about, to be honest with you, we're not just about Trinidadians and Trinbagonians. We're about humans, and we're about life, for that matter. Right? Somebody also said to me, until a dog have the right of a human, or like more rights in this country at least, then we're not seeing any real progress. And he's right. These are sentient beings, right? We there's plans for all these things too from the central governance level, but humanity, because this is what we based in. We based in the human aspect of doing things, right? That all of us are people and all of us are really the same. We might each have our own different problems and stuff. When it comes down to it, we're all the same, and everybody must be respected for their own. Everybody have their own things going on, right? But and then once we start accepting that and start loving each other for people, right? This is what we talk about, is unconditional love, loving somebody that will return that love, and though you don't need to, and can treat you bad and all these things, like what a parent is do to a child. This is how we must look at humanity. And when we reach that level in life, we'll be better off for it. Until then, we will aim for humanity. C, campaign. Why campaign? Because in our political system, and in political systems around the world, but especially a lot in ours that we see, campaign time is when the party's doing the job. They paving, they fixing drain, they come in and walk around and see you, they're accessible, right, at campaign time. So we want to always be seen as being in campaign mode, always working for you. This is the reason we have Trinidad Humanity Campaign. Yeah. Why the symbols? Why the colors? The heart represents the love that we have, as I just described, that unconditional love for all our people, because this is what governance is supposed to be about. It is supposed to be caring and taking care and ensuring the safety, the public health and safety of every citizen. Yeah. The colors represent, in the inside drawings, represent the colors of energy practices, right? When you do meditation and energy practices, different colors have different meanings, right? Yellow is the color of intelligence, right, and knowledge, and this is why we have a sun that is yellow, right, standing above, because we intend to lead this country and to lead our burgesses using the highest level of intelligence and integrity and knowledge. We intend to be smart about what we do. We intend to have the capacity and the abilities to tackle these problems from the way they're supposed to be dealt with in proper way. Red and the ibis itself represents also intelligence as a symbol, and the color of it represents the passion, right, that we have to move with within addressing everybody. So we have to take care of everybody again from that intelligence perspective and look over all the citizens, right, with the passion that we would have for ourselves and our families. It comes like blood, right? You want to look at everybody as a blood relative because you have to treat everybody the same in governance. That's what you're supposed to do, right? And the lion, which is not an animal from Trinidad, has always represented strength and courage, and the color green represents the color healing. Health is defined as the physical, social, emotional, and environmental well-being of a person and a nation. That is the true definition of health, right? We want a healthy country, not just in physical health, but in everything. We want to increase the standard of living for everybody, and we will approach this with the utmost courage and strength, fearless. We have nothing to fear from anybody, and we will speak against everybody that does the wrong thing. We will ensure that we have the best level of transparency and governance in this country under any position we get that is official. We will use those positions to ensure that we do the right thing and get the right thing done. This is what Trinidad Humanity Campaign is about. This is what the THC is about. This is what we represent. This is what we believe in. Yeah? So again, give us the opportunity and let us work for you. This is what we want to do. We want to represent. We want to change, right? We want to change the country for ourselves. You know how hard it is when you live with a family and you have kids and stuff that had to go out in the night because you have teenage children or post-teen children in the 20s and stuff, and they want to go hang out and party and stuff, and people getting shot in nightclubs and people getting robbed on the road and all these things, and far less for that. They're coming home, you want them home in the house, but these days you have so many home invasions that, excuse me a moment, right? You have so many home invasions that you have to worry about your home too, and you have to make sure your home properly secured. You have to get dog, you have to get alarm. What's going on? What's that you say? How would we address that? You must be a new viewer, right? We intend to do 3 different things for crime in our areas, and I like to keep repeating it. Why? Right? Every meeting. Why? Because 1, there's new viewers who might not heard us before, and 2, everybody you speak to, crime is the foremost topic on their mind. How are you going to reduce crime? And you have to remind them, but it's not central governance election, so we don't really have as much abilities that we would have as if it were. But in local governance, here's what we intend to do: 3 things. 1, work with the police and increase the patrols and increase the visibility of the police. Make them make more patrols within the area. Work with them to establish the routes and the times and all that stuff. Because each electoral district in this local government election have 1 police station representing them, right? Good. When I say representing, meaning in charge of the policing for that district, right? 2, the main aspect. We want at least 100 camera system that we will set up an operation center for these police stations, right? By the 4 large screens, by the 4 hard drives, by the 2 laptops to run the system. All the police have to do is put 1 or 2 people to monitor it, right? And even if they don't monitor all whole day, there's 100 cameras, right? But we have to have the recording. So when a vehicle come in and commit a crime in an area, we could tell, okay, come in from here. He went out this road, he take a left. He went out, so he take a right. He went out, so he take a next step. And we could trace the car. We could have better evidence collection practices for detection and for conviction. And once the criminals realize this whole area monitored by the police, they ain't come in. They go somewhere else until we could get it done in the whole country and reduce the crime in the whole country. But in the meantime, we work towards the electoral district. We don't even want 100 cameras because the 100 cameras only costing us $200,000 retail, local, bought with maintenance contracts. Why so low? That's the real cost. That's what you get with the THC, the real cost, no inflation of cost. Right? 1,000 cameras is what we want in every electoral district that we represent in, right? More than 1 in every corner, right? And we will see everything. The police will have the ability to see everything and record everything. And we will reduce crime by deterring crime in these areas. And that whole 1,000 camera system, less than $1 million TT. Call one electronic stores and ask them, right? Price it out yourself. And then that's what I'm saying. When we able to do that at that cost, then we can go to the rest of corporations and the central government through the media and say, here, what as a counselor, if you see a counselor do that, go to the media and say, listen, if we did this for $1 million TT, how come when you all normally want to do things like this, you tell me 10 and 20 and $15 million? One. Two. All right, that's the past. Maybe it was more expensive before. Who knows, by 20, 50 times, right? Now we have an opportunity. Look, $1 million. Look where we bought it, who we bought it from. This is the cost. Put it in the rest of the electoral districts. 141 electoral districts, 141 million TT dollars. Central government. Get it done. And force their hand. Force their hand, because what they gonna say? No, it really costs them 20 million. Come better than that now. Somebody just do it and show you the costs. Come, what you're gonna do next? And we could do that for every project. When we see a stadium drilling and they say $1 billion to the stadium, we could now go and request the full breakdown, every hammer and nail as a councillor, and say, listen, as a councillor for this, we demand, because we have been elected to represent this group of 10,000, 12,000 people, right? We demand the breakdown of cost for that. And when we get it and we see they're paying $2,000 for a hammer, well, then we can put them in court. And it's bad talking no party, to person, me saying that these people do this all the time, but oh gosh, if a stadium's supposed to cost $100 million, they say, which is already higher than stadiums cost in developed countries in the world, and that stadium went from $100 million to $1 billion. There's $1 billion. That level of inflation is supposed to be 10 stadiums. How 10 stadiums fit in one? I mean, I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry if I'm coming across so aggressive this evening, but it does. I mean, there's the reason we're here. We only put ourselves in the public eye because we fed up and frustrated too, just like you. And that is the sentiment that I got from most of the people that we talked to today, that they're fed up. Like, look, the person who represented them as councillor for the last number of years in that area, they live there. The people tell me, they say, boy, the girl live here. She grew up here. We know she since she's small. That's why she is here, we vote. But so far, she's done nothing except promise. I say, so, well, and I tell them, I say, it may not be her fault. She might want to help, but because she has to vote caucus in the large parties, because she has to listen to whatever the leadership of those parties say, she may simply not have the option to help, because she can't get the approval from her, far less from the council and the corporation and from her party to do that. So it may not be her fault, but if that ain't going and change this time, that's going to be the same old thing. So in this case, shake up the place and help us shake up the politics in the country and the governance by showing central governance and two large parties that you're willing to put somebody else from a different party in there. It don't matter which different party. You have 10 parties contesting this election, so you have 8 different parties plus 4 or 6 independents, right? Put those people into that position. And when those people get into that position, they will be able to speak out against what is happening with the 2 large parties. We know it have trouble in the 2 parties. We know that. We see it. We're not stupid. We see issues on this management. Now let us be able to air it out, right? And get it out there to the public and show the public what is happening, right? And force their hand to get more transparency, more accountability, and better value for our money. I feel that walk had me a little passionate today, though. I feel so. I feel that walk get me a little passionate today. I don't recall being so emotional. That's the way. In the other videos, I think this time I really, again, I'm overwhelmed from the support that we got, and I really hope that these people don't fall for the old jersey when they collect it or whatever has come with that and end up voting the same way they are accustomed voting. I hope these people go what they said to us today, right? And because most of them sounded extremely sincere about it, and they put us forward for this position, right? And let us show the country what a different party can do. Let us break this mentality of the 2-party system once and for all. So welcome to caller 737-8321. You're welcome to send your messages 737-8321 just during this broadcast. Right after the broadcast, you're welcome to reach me directly. Who I will take the calls for all my candidates in all the areas, and I'm familiar with all the areas myself. So you're welcome to ask me the specific questions and the tough questions. And I make myself available to you the same way I will make myself available to you or the same way we will make ourselves available to you if elected councillors. 24/7. Christmas Eve night, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, you have a problem that I can't get nobody else, you could get me. Christmas, New Year's, on the toll of the bell for the years to change. You call, I will respond. Because that is the job. The job is representation. The job is representing the people, right? Because I am the people too. The job is doing a better job for all of us and getting the problems and the issues fixed. I find a lot of these larger parties very good at identifying issues, but we don't hear nothing about how and when you're going to solve it. And the ones that they do, how and when they're going to solve, the price that it has cost the taxpayer. Whew. They make people want to go and buy equipment and open business just for that, just to run government contract. And you all know that's how the talk is going in this country, because it's all mismanagement and it needs to stop. Put somebody in there who's willing to stop it. Oh, what? What about me? If I get in there, I could do the same thing, maybe? Maybe that's what you're thinking. Oh, however, we have a comment. How many THC candidates have filed nominations for this local government election? We were the fourth largest party out of 19 contesting parties in the 2020 general election. You ought to say out of 19 contesting parties, we're the fourth largest, right? But this time 4. Why 4 out of 141 seats? Because, my friends, it's very hard to find people with real integrity who want to put themselves up for public life. You wouldn't believe how difficult it is. It's easy to find people who doesn't have real integrity to put in public life. Very easy. But people who wouldn't take a bribe, people who wouldn't fall for the mama guy, people who wouldn't get into the position as I was now talking about and then change, that's the most difficult thing to find, I promise you. At least this is not a general election where you wouldn't be able to tell us, okay, well, we can't form government, so all we could be is an independent set of people in the opposition bet, which is true. And I think that in itself has its own very valuable merits, right? By putting in somebody in the House of Representatives as a none of the two large parties, somebody in a different party who could then speak against both those parties if they're doing anything wrong, and the real merits and disadvantages of bills. I believe that in itself has a lot of value. But this time you're not risking that. There's no splitting of the vote. There's no undermining any of the large parties. There's no the government not changing, right? It's staying the same. And there's 16 councillors in my corporation up to Nakuna Piaka Regional Corporation alone, right? There are multiple councillors in each corporation, so you're not going to swing no vote. Now is the ideal chance for you to put a different representative from a different party there. Put a representative from a different party in there who to see if they will really stick to their commitments, because the candidates from the two large parties, whether they're different people or the same people, you've seen what those parties have done when given the opportunity in local governance. So what, you're going to expect something different this time? Well, if that's how you're thinking, go ahead. But if you're smart enough to think, hey, this thing making sense, they put somebody in there and give them a chance to see if they can really make a difference. If they do make a difference, we could only stand to benefit overall. Yeah? Change. Would I change when I get in there? Well, look, I'll be honest with you. We screen our candidates and we ask really tough ethical questions, right? Using certain dilemmas that are only used in Doctor of Philosophy classes in philosophy, right? So we use some highly ethical situations just to test the real integrity of the person's mind, how they think about certain things. That gives us an idea of what they would do if they put in a situation where they could take a bribe or something. At least that's the best we can do. And still, now I know the people I have as good people and I believe in them. Otherwise, I wouldn't have them running for our party. Yeah, we've had some issues with persons in the past where they're no longer with the party, right? But the people that we have now are strong-minded people that I have belief in. Yeah, and I still can't speak for them 100%. but I could speak for me 100%. And I can tell you one example. There's a few, but I can tell you the major example. Right? When I was appointed, I say appointed because as much as the government tried to pay me for the job of writing the laws for the cannabis in this country, right? I took payment from other countries. I refused payment here because to get the job, one of the things I had to do was to go on the 3 television stations and say, listen, why can't I get an interview if I'm more qualified than anybody in the region, one of the most qualified in the world, and doing the job for free? So when I got the job, I already said I'm doing it for free. I'm not going to change my mind because you're offering $1 million or $2 million as much as I need it, right? I am going to refuse it. I refuse it. And I did the job for free. When I got the job as the regulator, one of the largest cannabis companies in the world approached me in the Hyatt here. I thought they was going to ask me to represent their company in the country or something since I'm so qualified in this area or something like that. Okay, cool, right? They offered the equivalent of 150 million TT. They said 6 to 10 million US dollars a year for the 3 years. And they just wanted me to put one clause in the legislation that would end up giving them and 2 of their friends locally, right, a monopoly in that cannabis industry for the first 3 years. And I would be within that monopoly and I could make that amount of money. Before they could blink the eye, I refused them. They thought I was mad. They thought I didn't hear them. They was going to explain again. And I said, hold on, let me explain to you. And I repeated it just as I explained to you just now. And they said, yes, that's what we're looking for. And I said, well, no. And they said, well, why? I said, because come like one of them better fried chicken restaurant and fried chicken better than other people, better taste, better quality, better price, and outcompete your competitors. But do not come here and say nobody else can fry chicken, only you can fry chicken. That ain't happening under my watch. I cannot be bought. And you know what? The 2 large parties know that about me. If there's one thing they know about Marcus Ramkissoon, because I'm familiar with members on both sides, I'm friends with, I'm associated with, associated by profession, meaning, right? Because I've worked with them and I continuously badger in terms of getting the right thing done in policies and bills and so forth. That's what we're here for, political activism, right? I don't bad talk no party and nobody, so therefore I maintain my relationships with those 2 large parties. And if it's one thing I can tell you, and you can ask any of them, if it's one thing they know about Marcus Ramkissoon, I am a person of one of the highest levels of integrity they've ever seen. I cannot be bought. And this is why I believe I will make the best leader for our country, because I will cut the corruption out from everywhere. So for me at least, y'all don't have to worry about me changing when I get in there. I see plenty money, right? I am friends with some of the richest families in the world, right? Cassie who on public media, right? But because of the industry I'm in, I am friends with some of the wealthiest families in this world, right? And we don't ask nobody for nothing, right? And we don't follow nobody nothing, and I don't want nothing from nobody. That's why we're friends. I live by principle. I'm 41 years old. I'll be 42 next week. and I grew up on things like He-Man, a cartoon with a moral in the end. You'll remember the He-Man movie, the cartoons. Go look it up on YouTube. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. You'll realize at the end of each cartoon, one of the characters said the moral of this story is such and such and such. And excuse me again, but when I talk about all these things dealing with our country and how we go, I get a little passionate because it does affect me too, as I say. I grew up with believing that you're supposed to do the right thing. Doctor Who, all these comic book heroes, right? It was all taught to do the right thing. How can I now go and do the wrong thing? Is that how I'm supposed to mold my life? No, that is not who I am. I'm a person of principle. I have to live with me. In the end of it all, excuse me, I have to live with me. So I stay principled, right? I have to know what to do. I am not going to live my life knowing that I broke my principles, thinking that I could be this type of human being all this time. And when it came down to it, I take the money. Never. That is not me. That is not Marcus Ramkissoon, right? And I want to leave a legacy of myself. I want to leave a legacy. That's what these people should be doing. Why are they leaving a legacy for themselves as opposed to leaving a legacy of themselves? Oh God, do the right thing and do good for your country now, man. So generations down the line, people children will be like, and people grand and great grand, and they'll be like, when that person was in charge, through my history books, when that person was in charge, they did such great things for our country, such as we've never seen before. Or they encourage the type of leadership and they responsible for the type of good leadership we have now in the future. Let's start thinking along those lines. Anyway, folks, I didn't get to the usual talk this evening of the points and what we're going to do for you and how we're going to address the situations and all that stuff, really. And you all have got my nice and passionate about what I'm talking about now. It's frustration, It's frustration that we keep seeing the same thing over and over, and we're just not doing the right thing. And the right thing is so easy to do sometimes. You all will see me. My Burgess, right? My Burgesses and my electoral district of Alsace and Joseph will see me over the next days till the election, over the next 2 weeks. I will be passing around myself with my little megaphone. Right? It do go very far. As I thought it said 1,600 feet, but apparently it's like 6. So we will be coming around. I'll be coming around and there to talk to you if you want to. I'll be putting the flyers with our manifesto by hand in your mailbox. Please, all we're asking is that you read it. And if you like what you hear, you're welcome to communicate with us anytime to clarify anything. But if you see something different and you realize for yourself, hey, the two large parties is the ones who always put in candidates in our areas, and between the two parties, we ain't getting a lot done. Then now you have an opportunity to put a total different party and somebody who will speak up and say the right thing, stand for the right thing, and pull up everybody's socks. When they do the wrong thing, we will make sure and show the public. No party in the world, no governance in the world has ever said to its population, we will pin a camera on us and show you every aspect of our job, morning to night, 24/7. Every bill and every paper and every receipt and every invoice and every cost that we go through, even if we buy in lunch from the petty money and the petty cash, we're showing you all that. Because if we're representing you, then you should have the ability to see what we see. That is true representation, and that is a level of transparency that is beyond anything we have ever heard of. And we want to bring it to Trinidad and Tobago. Because listen, folks, when we do this, and we able now to tackle central governance and say, look, we doing this, why can't you? We could change the level of transparency we get from governance from now and in the future going forward, right? And put a people system in place that they have to do now because of practice, because of exemplary leadership, right? And they put that system, they have to put it in place now. Could put a law for it when we get into central governance. We could be the first country in the world mandating that every receipt and every invoice had to be scanned and put on our webpage, right? We could then encourage other countries in the world. We have a chance to change things in the world, people. Not just here. When we sit in the United Nations as Trinidad and Tobago, because the leadership represents us, right? And you give us a chance at leadership eventually at central governance if we show you what we can do here at local, if given a chance here. And we sit in the UN at central governance level. You think we're going to just sit down quiet on all nooksy and all kind of thing? You all like this Prime Minister of Barbados a lot. And she speaks well. I can see that. Yeah? Let us do more. Let us make our voices heard in the right way and for the right things. Let us use the position of leadership to bring changes everywhere as much as we can, the biggest that we can. That is what we're about. That is what we aim for. We would, if given the opportunity, make this country something that you and I think, couldn't even dream of. Give us that opportunity if you're willing. Thank you again for joining us this evening. This brings us to the end of this broadcast. We'll be here again on the YouTube channel next week, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, right? 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Same THC time, same THC channel. And we'll be right here again to explain to you who we are, what we're about. And hopefully these videos give you a sense of what we stand for as a party and what we would do if we were given that opportunity to manage. Yeah. Trinidad and Tobago have a fabulous week. Happy Emancipation Day in advance to all citizens, because if you really look through the history, most of us came from some level of being under someone, right? I'm not trying to take away anything from the African enslaved at all. That period in time was a scar on the history of humanity, and thank goodness that that major aspect is over. We need to work towards the things that are still happening within our country and our world, and we intend to. Yeah. So happy Emancipation Day in advance to everybody, right? Celebrate wisely, be safe, right? And everyone stay blessed. Until next week. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for supporting the Trinidad Humanity Campaign.